Hello again, I am Blunty. This is VR, well kind of, it was recorded in VR. This is not VR, and this is the Quest 2 VR headset, formerly the Oculus Quest 2. That's what it was when I bought it. Now it's the Meta Quest 2, after Facebook as a company decided to desperately try and distance themselves from their own utterly poisonous brand and rebrand everything that isn't the actual Facebook page as something else, usually Meta. Oh no, was I just disparaging towards Mark Zuckerberg's corporate entity? Well, I guess that means that I, as a creator, am blacklisted now. And I'm not joking, by the way. It's hard to be sure, of course, because of the very nature of blacklisting, but I'm pretty sure I have been blacklisted by Meta and have been for several years now. I'm going to tell you a short personal experience story about that a little bit later. But if you hadn't caught wind yet, there's another one of these on the way, a new version, the MetaQuest 3. MetaConnect is happening in a week, and if everything went to plan, exactly a week from when this video will go live for you. September 27th to the 28th, 2023. And while it started life under Oculus branding as an industry event where developers and hardware engineers and experienced designers and creatives from all around the world would come together and see what interesting new ways they all had to push virtual reality forward, these days, under Facebook Meta leadership, it's little more than a media stunt for advertising Meta as a brand and to loudly announce a brand new product and whatnot. Which is why we're all interested in this MetaConnect at all, because they're announcing the new Quest 3, and the Quest 2 is kind of a big deal, so the Quest 3 is probably a big deal too. It'll be the final big reveal for the MetaQuest 3, in fact. We have known the MetaQuest 3 is coming for a long while now. It's not a secret. They've announced it in various ways. We know a lot about the features, both hardware and software. We know what it looks like. We know the pricing, or of at least one model. We know about the new controllers. We know a bunch of stuff. We've even seen a leaked unboxing of the damn thing. Very little real information, which makes me think it's not a real unboxing, but a deliberately leaked unboxing to try and drive, social media interaction and whatnot. But after this event, after MetaConnect, we'll know all of the things and be able to order them for ourselves, and we'll know when we can actually have them in our hands and put them on our faces and do the wiggly things. What we also know is that you cannot trust and should not trust any content creator or influencer who attends the event under the invite of Meta. 6live, on the platform formerly known as Twitter before it got a rebrand, pointed out that several high-profile and prolific VR creators who you'd imagine would eagerly get an invite to MetaConnect have announced in vague ways they're not actually invited and won't be going. And he claims it's because any creator who won't sign a legal document stating they will not disparage Meta or its products at all won't be invited. 6, who has been working in the VR space for many years, in his own words, he is a serial founder in VR, but I only know his work from Live, a toolset for creating mixed reality footage from VR titles. You've likely seen a lot of your favorite VR creators use it. I did try it once, never got the fiddly damn thing to work. It's very fussy. In any case, 6 offers no supporting evidence for this claim, even when asked repeatedly in the replies for any, but I personally know it is in line with standard practice at Meta, and a lot of companies actually. And it's not just the VR stuff either. Facebook and Zuckerberg in general have a long history of aggressively trying to control the conversation. So even without receipts, I'm really ready to absolutely believe this claim on face value. Now, Meta are, of course, utterly free to pick and choose who they work with and who they invite to their special media launches. In fact, it's in their best interest to do that. They want these expensive events like this to result in the largest amount of positive exposure as possible. That's the point of events like this. It is standard industry practice to pick and choose who you want to invite to these events so you get the best possible coverage you can think of. It's not like Meta are alone in doing this. However, well, it's a long way from the most evil thing Zuckerberg's corporate monstrosity has ever been responsible for or involved in. It is also very important that you, the people out there who will be hearing about this event and chasing up information and opinions and reviews on the MetaQuest 3 and its related stuff, need to know and understand the context of that coverage. And that context is you cannot fully trust the opinion of any content creator or media outlet that attends this event or works directly with Meta as one of their content partners or even a recipient of a free review sample. So let's frame this a little more personally. I've had my eye on Oculus since before they had a commercial product, and long before Palmer Luckey sold out to Facebook, much to the chagrin of other Oculus people. In fact, back in 2013 at PAX Australia, at the first PAX Australia, see my other video about PAX and this year's event, an expo that's about to have its 10th anniversary, I was personally amongst the first people to try a then brand new 1080p HD Oculus Rift prototype, more than twice the resolution of all the existing units they had as engineering samples and betas and whatnot. I've never specialized in VR content, but after that experience, I did spend the next 10 years with VR, reviewing various headsets and brands and hardware and accessories. At one point, I had a whole stack of VR headsets like this tall. Including the original Oculus Touch controllers I checked out, the Oculus Go, the Oculus Rift S, their prototyping of hand tracking, and of course the Oculus Quest 2. Before the Quest 2 was launched, I was approached by Oculus themselves, invited to partner directly with them in their content creator program, which included support, early access, game codes, and even tech assistance and specially designed software tools for creating effective mixed reality demo footage for the said, videos and coverage and whatnot. And of course, I was offered a review sample of the Quest 2. I said yes. We moved forward and then silence. Nothing ever again. No contact, no follow-up, no response to anything I sent. That was really weird because there was no animosity at all. Everything was going really smoothly. We were communicating effectively. Everything was going absolutely glass smooth. I don't know why they suddenly cut me off, but I was ghosted by the influencer manager at one of the largest brands on earth and just left in the dark to shrug why. And no one from Oculus has ever responded to a single thing I've ever tried to contact them about since, no matter what avenue I took or who I tried to speak to. Why? Well, the nature of being ghosted and the PR industry's blacklisting habits mean I'll probably never know. I was once blacklisted by Samsung, the mobile division specifically, after one of their executives saw that I use swear words on my personal Twitter posts. That's a true story. I've never been able to work with Samsung since, because I swear on Twitter. But back on the Oculus stuff. Well, to that point of being contacted by these people, I've been strongly positive about VR in general and even Oculus specifically. I had, however, published material elsewhere that was critical and less than enthusiastic about Facebook's purchasing of Oculus years before. So, one can only imagine that after being hand-picked by their own team, contacted directly, personally invited into their creator program, offered review hardware, that something external to all that had changed, and they were told not to talk to me anymore. I shrugged and moved on and ordered my own damn headset out of my own pocket, which I'm still using today. Literally was using it yesterday, and I've been recommending it for years as a good product. I personally use frequently and have done since launch. I like it despite my distaste for Facebook. The influencer manager, by the way, who bitched out on me, still works in the industry in a very similar job, but now she's at Epic Games. Point is, none of us creators are entitled to access of any kind, even if some act like it a lot of the time. And it is, of course, absolutely fine when a brand decides who it will and will not work with, help support, or invite into their creator programs, or whatever, send review samples, whatever it is. Or even send press releases to. And on the other side of that coin, creatives get to choose who we work with too. There are several brands I've told to take a hike after it became very clear that their morality and my morality cannot coexist at all. So, if you do see an influencer who is covering the MetaConnect event and their related and following coverage of the MetaQuest 3 product, any reviews, anything like that, any experiential kind of stuff, be ready with your metaphorical, very large pinch of salt, because it is more than likely they are under a literal, legally binding agreement, a contract, to not be completely honest with you about any flaws, shortcomings, or worries, or whatever in Meta's hardware or software. Now, I'm not saying these are dishonest people by nature, or their content should be avoided. I personally know someone who is going to the event under invite by Meta, and they are an absolutely lovely person. They are sweet and kind and generous, and I would absolutely have a beer with them, which is Australian for giving them a hug. But I also know their content won't be telling me the whole truth of the matter, and that's a little bit disappointing. personally and professionally. But for the sake of content and, surviving as a creator, some people are prepared to make moral compromises that some others won't. It's a personal choice as a creator, I don't begrudge them that choice so long as they're open about said brand relationship and what it entails. That's fine by me if they're like that. I take sponsorships and whatnot as well, and I do choose carefully who I work with and the products that I endorse in that way. I have always and will always tell you, the viewer, that's what's up when that stuff happens, at the start and end of the video. And I've always done this, long before it was not just an industry standard or expectation, or even legally required by some countries now, but always. And thankfully, viewers, you guys, are a lot more savvy about this stuff than you once were, which is very encouraging to see that sort of growth in your literacy of media product. It's also a bit of a double-edged sword because people are so hyper aware of it these days. A lot of stuff where you make positive content about something, someone will accuse you of being on the payroll of a brand when you're just not. You just like the thing. You take the good with the bad, right? Now, all of that said, if you are wondering if I will be personally reviewing the MetaQuest 3, I do intend to. While my personal finances are garbage right now, thank you to the patrons, thank you, I have been saving up Amazon gift cards for a while now with the intent to purchase the MetaQuest 3 for use in content and for use personally as my own VR thing. Because as much as I have a distaste for Facebook and Zuckerberg, the Quest 2, while not being the best VR headset you can buy, mechanically, technically, or whatever, its particular blend of tech has made it the best for me. I find it very convenient to have a standalone headset I can just slap on and use for basic content, VR vid streaming and meditative stuff like that sometimes. I also use it as a personal cinema for 2D content. It's really nice for that. But mostly, and I mean mostly, 95% of the time, I use it as a wirelessly connected device, a wonderfully cable-free VR headset for full power VR stuff on my PC gaming rig. And that stuff is, of course, why the Quest 3 excites me. It's this, but even better. Better screens, better lenses, better comfort, presumably, better controllers, and for the times I do go standalone, significantly better power, which might very well mean it'll be a lot more useful in its standalone mode. Because of all the things I do with this in standalone, it's mostly very, very passive stuff. More power might mean gaming or stuff like VR chat becomes a lot more practical without having to boot up the big computer and do the wireless connection thing, which is a bit of a fuss. It's worth it, but it's a bit of a fuss. Also, as the MetaQuest 2 is by far, and I mean by a very big margin, the most popular VR headset on PC, at least as measured by Steam's reporting, having the newest version of the most popular headset is a practical concern for me as a content creator. It'll give me the ability to make content around it, of course. It opens up a path for also reviewing and testing the new range of accessories and add-ons and all that kind of stuff, which will inevitably come out for it, which I personally find fun to do, that kind of content as a creator. I like fiddling with new accessories and seeing if they make something better or worse. For example, this head strap, that's an accessory. That's an official accessory, but it makes this headset so much better than the default headset it came with. Which reminds me, now all I got to do is do a little research and find out who's making some snap-in prescription lenses for the Quest 3, because the ones I got for the Quest 2 here have been lifesavers for not having to try and wear my damn glasses inside a VR headset, which is never the most comfortable way to go. Also, I scratched the damn right lens the other day, which right in the middle of my field of view as well, and on my dominant eye. Screw you, Murphy. Just screw you. Anyway, thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you as always to the patrons up above there. And hopefully this heatwave breaks soon so I can spend a little more time in VR without, dehydrating and dying. Or just pulling this thing off my face and having it drip on me, which is gross.